Hey Messy family, I'm Curtis.
I'm Sahanity.
Welcome back to the channel. In today's segment, we're going to be reviewing a story time by a creator named Jackie, and she's about to go on and tell us how she caught her husband cheating on her.
Get this, the only reason why she knew she was cheating is because the mistress anonymously emailed her.
Now Messy family, this story is messy. Make sure you guys buckle up and let us know throughout the video what you guys think.
How I found out my ex-husband, aka the random man in Rancho, was having an affair. Part 1. I decided to finally do a story time that I'm going to leave here on my page because it's something that you guys ask me constantly when I'm on live, and I'm just tired of repeating the same fucking story. So buckle up, bitch. It's story time. February of 2019, shit was bad. Real bad. I was sick and tired, and so was he. So I took my kids and myself and stayed at my mom's, my best friend's, and my sister's house for about 2.5 to 3 weeks. The fights were about money, our child's education, daycare, shit we still fight about. Reasons why the divorce is still not processed. But I digress. In this 2.5 to 3 week time period while I was staying between my best friend, my sister, and my mom's house, not once did he try to repair anything. I was always the one that was trying to communicate. Obviously, I can communicate effectively, as you guys can see. Instead, in that time period, he was attacking me and calling me a piece of shit mom. What kind of mother am I to have his kids sleeping on the floor somewhere instead of at home? But he never came to pick them up either. Instead, you know what he was doing? Having barbecues at our house with his friends. Going out. Spending the night on his homie's couch. Obviously, I didn't know it at the time, but that's when he started an affair. But I was the bad mom. Mind you, I kept my daughter with me 24/7. She was only 7 months old. She was fully breastfed. On top of having my toddler, AC, who was only 1.5 years and also couldn't be without me for a prolonged period of time. But I digress. Also in this time period, again, the continued accusations of me cheating. Who the fuck am I with? When my mom is watching the kids, when my sister's with the kids, blah, 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 who's covering up for me, etc. Girl, I couldn't even fucking brush my hair. I couldn't even fucking think straight. I was going through postpartum, trying to figure my fucking self out, run a business, and deal with my kids, and deal with what the fuck was going on in my home as well. In any case, I get fed up and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to move my stuff out. I load up a whole U-Haul. My dad helps me and we hire some Home Depot people to help. And I remember on that drive, my dad was like, if you fucking go back, you're fucking stupid. He's doing something behind your back. How did my dad know that? Because my dad lived at my house. My dad never left. Even though I left, my dad was still there. Rest in peace to my daddy, but he was still there. And he would tell me, hey, random man in Rancho didn't come home. Where would he be at? It's like, great question. He wasn't giving me any answers. So my dad was like, don't go back. You're fucking stupid if you go back. Nonetheless, random man in Rancho, in whatever way, conversation, discussion that we have ends up, finessing me back home. And obviously I wanted to come back home too. Like, I had no self-love, no self-worth, etc. So I was like, okay, well, let's fucking figure this out. So there we go. Take the U-Haul back, unloads, and I'm back at home unpacking all the shit we packed up. It wasn't a lot. It was just like my clothes and shit like that. But I noticed a huge change in behavior. However, I'm not a person that is an accusatory person or that accuses you of like doing things behind my back. I need to have like proof. I'm just seeing these things, but I'm like, oh, okay, like obviously we've been fighting, there's some problems, etc. Some of those things were that he had an increased sex drive. Not that men don't, but it was just different, weird, didn't add up, especially because we really weren't getting along. He also focused a lot more on his appearance, and he was buying himself new clothes, new shirts, when I used to be the one that used to purchase all of these things for him. But I was like, well, hey, he works. We're 50-50, so he could do whatever he wants with his extra money, so whatever. New colognes, new shoes, and all of a sudden started really worrying about his hygiene. He had like really bad dental hygiene. He really immediately wanted to get that fixed and was like super defensive if I would spend a lot of money because he wanted that money to be able to fix his hygiene. Those were also some very big arguments. He starts arriving home at later times, and at the end of the night, he starts putting his cell phone in one of his drawers. Again, I don't think anything of it. I just think he's tossing his phone in there like he tosses his change, his wallet, etc. And it's crazy now when I've seen TikTok how much you could hide on an iPhone. Like you could literally put a select person on do not disturb and you will never see their text messages come in. You could communicate through the notes app, like all these things that they knew that I was like oblivious to. And I never went through phones ever until after the fact. Twice I did. But prior to, I never touched his phone. But yet again, my mind doesn't go there. It doesn't think the worst. I've never been one to make those types of assumptions. I don't know if I said already that he started to get home later, but he started to get home later. I also noticed that he would go to the mailbox like every day as soon as he got home from work, and he would walk there and take his phone. What could he be doing during that time period, Jackie? If I knew then what I know now, well, obviously now I know what he was doing. Having that one final conversation like, okay, well, I'm home, so I gotta go home and be with my family. At last check-in with the mistress. During this time period, he was also very condescending, very aggressive, very cocky. Very, it's my way, not your fucking way. We ain't doing shit your fucking way. I don't give a fuck what you communicate vibe. Machista to the extreme vibe. And very nonchalant as well. And during this time period, he ended up blocking me on Instagram because I posted myself doing a workout where you do the butterfly for your inner thighs, and said I was trying to show my pussy to the world, when first of all, only women followed me, and second of all, I had a flannel in between my thighs. So he blocked me. So obviously he could say, well, I don't follow her, like she's blocked. You know, he has something towards his defense, that there's nothing there, that he's trying to figure out his way out. He also starts to play that card where like, you don't give a fuck about me. Like that I didn't care. Like the pobrecito card. That I stopped paying attention to him. Which partly is true after 10 years of the same bullshit and filling up his cup and nobody filling mine. Yeah, that's partly true. Mind you, and add 3 more kids. Yeah. But it wasn't to that extreme either. Now we had 3 kids. And a fucking dog. And bills I still had to pay because, you know, 50-50, bitch. That's why I won't go 50-50 no more. But anyways, that's part 1 of the discovery phase. See you guys tomorrow at the same time for part 2. There's going to be 4 parts total of the discovery phase of the random man in Rancho and how I caught him cheating. Last thing, don't try to find him. Don't fucking bother him if you know who he is. He's a fucking random man in Rancho. He is irrelevant. This is my story. This is the sequence of events that pulled the rug from underneath me. And that way, from now on, whenever somebody asks, I can redirect them to this series and say, this is what happened. This was the final straw, etc. I don't have to re-answer those questions anymore. See you tomorrow.
Cheaters are very creative. If you have to go the extra mile, and I didn't even know that people even cheat through notes, but I can see how that's a thing.
Right, yeah.
But if you have to do the most, now you're walking to the mailbox every day, like, this is probably a mailbox you've got to drive to, and he's just taking that walk so he can, you know, tell his mistress, I'm home now. Why even do all that? Why even bring your family back home if at the time they were about to, you know, split up and live in different areas? Why even bring that back just so you can cheat?
I'm like, oh, he probably just, you know, trying to get his life together. That's normal. Like, dudes just go through a phase where they just want to get in great shape. They want to be, like, you know, get their dental and all that stuff together. Like, it's just a thing. But, you know, she hit the nail on the coffin, because sometimes it could be a sign of cheating. Because you're just trying to get yourself ready for the next person. Like,
and it is odd if you're being comfortable for 10 years, not worrying about your appearance, and now all of a sudden.
What was it about that man that made you love him with bad dental? I'm just curious, because you brought that up. Let's get to part 2.
Buckle up, bitch. This is part 2 of how I discovered my ex-husband, aka the random man from Rancho, was having an affair. Yesterday, I told you guys about the change in behavior and what initiated his affair potentially. Now we're getting into the discovery phase. We are now in April of 2019, and I get a series of unexpected emails. I will insert them next. I was having lunch with my oldest son at the Habit Burger when I got this email. From a gorilla email, so basically an anonymous email, titled, "Your husband is cheating on you with a blonde." The body of the message list, "This is not spam. I just wanted to let you know I saw your husband with a girl with blonde hair, and it didn't look like you at Sushi Martini in Rancho." Before we go further into the emails, I want you guys to know the emails were sent by the mistress herself, aka the hoe from Riverside. If you're from Riverside and you know a couple hoes, you probably know her. But I digress. Back to the story, bitch. Okay, before we get back to the story, dude, I'm so glad none of this shit bothers me anymore. Like, unfazed. At one point in time, I was dying. My soul, my body, everything in me was dying. Okay, let's continue. My obvious response is, well, did you take a picture? Because I need proof. And she responded, no, I didn't want to take a picture and make it obvious, but it was last week sometime. Okay, bitch, what the fuck do you want me to do with that? So then I responded, I said, are you sure that was my husband? What day? At this point, I'm already asking him, like, what is this about? I also sent the email to his brother. His brother was like, I wouldn't believe that. Like, he wouldn't be that stupid to actually do that in Rancho, seriously, where people know you, because I had a business here. But I wasn't as social media famous as I am now. I had a very small platform, like maybe 30,000 followers. My business had a bigger platform. Anyways, the response was, it was on Wednesday around 1-ish. I follow you on IG. I know for a fact that was your husband because I had to block that out. But my ex is in the service industry, and apparently my ex-husband and her husband knew each other, which later turned out to actually be true because the random man from Rancho used to be her husband's barber. Imagine fucking a longtime client's wife. Anyways, let's continue. Why wait till today to tell me? Are you sure? It's a big accusation. A family, 3 kids. Are you 100%, 110% positive? Did you tell your husband? Because obviously if her husband knew mine, then she would have told him, right? Look at her, so sweet to compliment me and care about my feelings. Didn't want to get involved, but as a wife and a mother, I had to tell you. I would not have said anything if I wasn't 200% sure. She was 200% sure, all right, because she was the one that was getting piped the fuck down by my husband at the time. I would never want to ruin a family. But from what I see, you're an amazing mom and wife, and it's unfair to you and your kids. Was it though? Was it? Hoe from Riverside? Was it unfair? Because the hoe from Riverside didn't actually seem to care that she was fornicating with a married man. But given her track record and how many baby daddies she got, yeah, it checks out. Me still not believing this random person because my brain don't fucking go that way, because I don't assume the worst in people because that's not my own personal character. I said my husband showed me his schedule. He was at work at the time. Her response, I just wanted to make you aware. Again, seeming to have too much information, right? I've given you all the information I know. I would suggest looking at his social media, purchases, phone history, and his whereabouts for the last couple of weeks. Don't be fooled so easily. It's up to you what you decide to do. The hoe from Riverside was dying to tell me. But you know, she didn't want to get pegged as the bad guy. She didn't want the random man from Rancho to be like, why the fuck did you do that? Because she didn't want to lose her supply, of course. So she had to make it anonymous. I don't respond anymore. Then she sends me another email. It says, it's one thing to decide to work things out after an affair, but it's a whole different thing to get lied to and for a person to get away with cheating. Things will never change or get better until the truth is brought to light. If he's a good man, Savannah, then it's time for him to come clean and get help to save his family. And I just responded, I think you have the wrong person. Now I'll tell you guys why I responded that. Because the random man from Rancho sent me a picture of a doppelganger of him that a customer showed him and was like, dude, I saw this guy at the gym. He looks just like you. Sent him a picture. I was like, dude, that looks exactly like you. Fucking twins, wouldn't you know? So I was more convinced, like, yeah, this girl's tripping. I have no idea what the fuck she's talking about. And he's like, yeah, must have been this guy and she thought it was me, but it's not me. I was like, yeah, checks out, makes sense. And I go on about my business, bitch. Oblivious as fuck. I finish having lunch with my kid. We go home. I'm folding the laundry with my baby girl on the floor. She's destroying all the laundry I'm folding. And he walks in the door. And the first thing he says is, who the fuck did you piss off? What the fuck have you been doing behind my back for somebody to make those accusations? What have you been doing? And I was like, jaw on the floor. Because I was like, wait a minute, you didn't get that email. I did. So why am I being accused? Red flag, ding, 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 ding. But I didn't see that as a red flag, bitch, because I'm stupid. Because my brain doesn't work that way. But I was like, what are you talking about? You're not the one that got an email. Like, come at me sideways if you're the one that got an email. But you cleared it up. I'm the one that got an email. You cleared it up. I believe you. Okay. Like, why we gotta fight? Like, I just finished folding your underwear here. Put them in your drawer. Like, what the fuck? And that is part 2 of the discovery. It took me a while, bitch. Because I'm not fucking crazy. Because I'm not that girl. Sometimes I really wish I could, but I much prefer the way that I am because I feel like God shows me things whenever he thinks I'm ready, and whatever's done in the dark will always come to light. And I'm okay with the sequence of events because it allowed me to process step by step. I think if I would have been hit with it all at once, it would have been catastrophic for me because I was already dealing with postpartum depression from having my daughter. I think that I probably would have ended up in the loony bin as my mental health was hanging on by a fucking thread. See you tomorrow, same time, for part 3 of The Random Man in Rancho finally gets caught.
Why do you feel like the mistress reached out to her? You think she had like some sincerity in that? Like she's trying to like warn her, hey, you dealing with a bad dude? Or you think she just really trying to like get her out of there?
She wanted her spot 100% because it's like, you know about the wife and he knows that you know, and he's going to continue to do that. Like if this is what you guys agreed to, why would he change all of this? So the only person that can move the chess pieces is the wife.
What do y'all think, Messy Family? Same question applies to you guys. Drop it in the comment section below.
3 of how I discovered my ex, aka the random man in Rancho, was having an affair. So we were just doing life day in and day out like I never received that email. At this time in 2019, we actually lived in Hesperia. If you guys are local and you know Hesperia, you know it's a fucking bitch to take the 15 from here Rancho and go up to Hesperia. Takes forever, especially during traffic hour. We're trying to save money. So one fateful night, I have all my kids. It's about 9 p.m. and we're pulling up to our house in Hesperia. And my oldest son says to me, wait, Dad's not home, because his car wasn't in the driveway. And I was like, no, he's not home yet, but he's probably on his way, or he's probably stuck in that same traffic that we were stuck in. Or he's probably with his girlfriend, because we always used to say that, joking around. My son was in the back seat at the time as we're pulling into our driveway, and he starts panicking. He's like, it's because mom, I have to tell you something. It's because mom. And I'm like, what? What's wrong? What's wrong? So I start recording him. But then he's like, are you recording me? Are you recording me? And I was like, no. I was just holding my phone. I just turned my phone around. So if you rewind the hands of time, at the time my son was 6 years old. So he was really small. So I didn't want to stress him out even more. So I was like, what's wrong? Like, tell me what? Like, what's wrong? And he's like, well, it's because I was using Dad's phone, because the random man in Rancho used to take my son with him to work after school, and he would give my son his phone to use while he finished up his work. So my son would be playing whatever games were on the phone, YouTube, etc. And if the random man in Rancho got any text messages, well, my son couldn't read. He was only 6 at the time. But my son said that his dad got photos of somebody, and one of them, she was like this posing like on a bed, and another one was just like her face, and that she had blonde hair. And so I asked my son, I was like, oh, well, who do you think it was? Like, who was it? He's like, I don't know, mom. But it said, and then he says the initials. I'm not going to say the initials. We're going to call her the hoe from Riverside, so we're going to say HR. But he told me her initials. I was like, okay, well, did you ask your dad? He says, yeah, I asked him, but he said it was the receptionist at his work. And he's like, but the receptionist has black hair, and the girl in the picture had blonde hair. He's like, mom, that's weird, right? Or do you think maybe it was her sister? So he's trying to tell me like maybe it was the receptionist's sister, because the receptionist has black hair, not blonde hair. So I'm recording all of this. And I was like, yeah, baby, maybe that was it. And I was like, let's go inside. But inside, my chest is, bitch. And maybe like 2 weeks before that, I was making dinner, and he had came home from like working out late after work, and he had came home, and I was like serving his plate, and he had his phone on the countertop, and he got a text message from a random number that said, hey, I made it home. And I was like, who's telling you that? He's like, oh, the guy that I was working with. And I was like, oh, working out with. I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of weird, but whatever. Well, it was HR, bitch, without a title on her name. He was constantly taking off the labeling it a name and leaving it a phone number and etc. But I digress. So that video that I took of my oldest son telling me what he saw on the Random Man in Rancho's phone, I sent it to the Random Man in Rancho's sister, his youngest sister. And because I have no fucking ounce of crazy, she told me what to do. She said, tomorrow, go to the phone company, and you're going to get the phone records and blah, blah, blah. And she was trying to like make sense of it. Like, it's not true. Maybe it is true. Like, what is going on? I know at some point she probably contacted him, but obviously I don't have any information about the things that they talked about, except one bit of information that I'll tell you guys in a bit. So then the random man in Rancho gets home after I've already had all this information, and I'm just trying to keep my composure. He gives my son his phone. My son asks for the phone because he wanted to like watch some videos, and he goes to take a shower. When he goes to take a shower, I take the phone from my son, and I try to find those initials in the contacts, and I can't fucking find them because the man was fucking changing them. So I couldn't find the initials. So he was, trying to cover his tracks in every which way. I couldn't find them. I was too nervous. I had never gone through a phone, so that was the first time I ever went through his phone. I had never gone through a phone like that, so I had so much anxiety, and I just wanted to find the initials as quick as possible. Couldn't find those initials. And this is how I know it was so much fucking trauma, and it literally puts your nervous system into shock, and you're literally like not functioning anymore, is because I don't fully remember a lot of those details of like what I did after that. But I do remember confronting him, but not in a way of attacking him. More so like asking, like, what is this about? And I did go to the phone company, and I did look through the phone records, but I didn't even know what the fuck I was looking for. But I did end up finding a phone number. And myself and one of my best friends was blowing that fucking phone number up. And the girl responded, she sounded like a fucking chuntara, the hoe from Riverside, and was like, ask him. Bitch, I'm asking you because the motherfucker's not gonna tell me. Okay? But okay. And she just stops responding, blah, 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 blah. Well, of course, he's not going to admit to anything. But he does end up admitting to his sister that they were friendly and they just, like, had an emotional affair. Like, if it were to be called anything, it would have been an emotional affair. Because they just got too friendly and became too good of friends and telling each other each other's problems. But it wasn't anything more than that. And so obviously when I get this information, I talk to him about it. And I'm like, well, you can't talk to her anymore. Like, I don't know what the fuck that was, but it ends today. And he was like, no, I get it. Like, blah, 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 blah. We'll just forget about it and start from scratch. Like nothing happened. Okay. But I had a feeling. I fucking knew. I had a feeling, but God knew that I wasn't ready. He knew I was not ready for all of the information yet. So from that point forward, from July until the next discovery, I spent almost every single day begging, pleading God that when he thought I was ready to please show me the truth, the real truth, because the shit wasn't fucking adding up. And I was starting to put pieces together from left and right of what had been going on. So I was like, okay, this isn't the full fucking story. There is more to this. And I need you to show me when you think I'm ready. And one thing about God and me, he doesn't play. He doesn't play. Every day I prayed, every day I cried and listened to worship and just begged until the day came where God showed me everything. And everything that was done in the dark fully came to light. It wasn't just an emotional affair. It wasn't just them communicating too much or being too friendly. It was obviously so much more than that. So stay tuned for part 4 of the discovery of how I caught the random man in Rancho having an affair. And I want to reiterate that I am just not that person. My mind doesn't go there. I need actual proof. And also to go and hunt for it makes me fucking physically sick. Like the anxiety. I don't know how y'all people do it that go through phones and fucking stalk locations and do crazy shit. Like I would fucking die of anxiety and nerves. I have no idea how you guys do that. I could never be me. My mind never goes there. But one thing is true is God is always faithful. And he will uncover everything in the safest way possible. And when you are ready. Leave the random man in Rancho alone if you know who he is. All you guys need to know is that he's a random man in Rancho. You guys don't need to know who he is. Y'all don't need to bother him. Y'all don't need to know who the whole in Riverside is. Leave it alone. If I see it in the fucking comments, you're getting fucking blocked. Okay? That's it.
She running a strict program over there, ain't she?
I mean, it's not about them. This is her story.
See, fellas, this is why you don't mess with women in this way, especially women of God. Oh my goodness, if she got God in her life, man, just break up with her and go about your ways, bro, because they always find out. We've done over 100 story times like this, and I'm telling you now, if she know God, play games somewhere else.
Just so messy. Knowing that your son plays with your phone and you just have all this evidence of you doing wrong to his mother, and that is at his hand.
He would have got away with it, man, if it wasn't for that little kick. No.
Not even that. Like, he was just so sloppy with it. He just didn't care. And it's like, if you're at this point and you've been caught, why are you lying about it? If you think that everybody's just going to be like, okay, whatever, like you're having an affair, okay, I'm stick around. Give someone that option. I don't see why people want to dictate that. Let them choose. Is this what they want to be around or not?
Part 4 of how I discovered my ex-husband, aka the random man in Rancho and the hoe from Riverside were having an affair. I would like to reiterate, please don't try to find them. Don't bother them. It doesn't fucking matter who they are. This is my story. And that is why we labeled them as such, to leave them anonymous. Before we get into the last discovery, I also want to point out a few things. Between the summer until September 2nd of 2019, I had never actually had a relationship with my ex's family. And prior to all of this happening, we were in the building stages of trying to have some form of a relationship. So during this time period, because I felt so isolated, I leaned into his family. Big fucking mistake, bitch. Because they were one person in my face, but they would mock me behind my back. And later gaslight me. And protect him rather than hold him accountable. So talk about feeling real fucking isolated and this fucking small. And women at that. I noted in one of my previous videos, there was an increased level of the sex drive had gone up. And I think that that's pretty common when people are having an affair. I've seen that research before. But being that this person was sleeping with not only me, but also the hoe from Riverside, there was an increased amount of discharge and a change in my bodily fluid. But I wouldn't have attributed it to anything. I thought my body was just going through something postpartum because I never imagined that that was going on behind my back. However, he did notice. And one time, I believe that it had been a period of time where they kind of had stopped talking. And he made it a point to tell me like, oh, you haven't had a lot of discharge lately. Like, It made me feel on edge, like I had done something wrong because I'm like, oh shit, well, fuck, I don't know. He's going to be thinking that I did something, blah, blah, blah. But it was this man this whole time. But I digress. So he was supposed to have stopped this emotional affair and we started writing to work together, to spend more time together. And low-key kind of like if I was babysitting him. Like, nah, fuck that. We're going to write together, dip together because I don't know what the fuck you're hiding. Especially because we lived in Hesperia at the time. And so that made me feel a little bit more comfortable. He also blocked her on Instagram, I got to see what her handle was, but I never actually looked at her profile because I knew that I was not okay at that time. And had I looked at her profile, it would have been engraved in my mind and it would have hurt me. Like I would have seen her face every time I woke up and right before I went to bed and the entire fucking day. That's probably all I would think about. So I never actually went to her page. I just remember her social media handle. And I believe he also blocked another account. I don't know who that person was to her, whether it was a cousin, a family member, somebody that covered up for her. I don't fucking know. But she was related in some way. So whatever, we're just doing life. I'm still praying like, God, show me. Show me. And I'm just going back in time in my mind and trying to put pieces together while still trying to work on the relationship and be a mom and run a business. Everything. Talk about survival mode as fuck. It's now Labor Day weekend. I'm with his family all day, which he hated, by the way. Either because he didn't trust them or he was just extremely jealous. But in any case, he's at work. I go pick him up from work. Him and I had a planned date to go to a paint and sip here in Rancho. So our kids stay with his family. My mom was also there at the pool. Him and I go to the paint and sip. We have a couple of drinks. We do our painting. We come back. Everything's all good. We pack up the kids from the pool. Everybody's saying their goodbyes. And then we want to go to Sonic because they have like these little ices or whatever. So we go to Sonic. As we're in line at Sonic, I get this email. You can see the timestamp. It's 9:44 p.m. because it's the end of the night. Hey, Jackie, I'm one of your followers. I don't know how to start this email, but I was at blank on Friday and I seen your husband and I thought it was you. But as I got closer so I can say hello, I realized it wasn't you. She also has blonde hair. I seen her get into a white car. I could clearly see him grabbing her. I've seen him from the videos you posted and I'm positive it was him. I almost didn't want to send you this email because I feel bad, but I feel like as a wife, you deserve to know I'm sorry. This time, not from a gorilla email. This time, this email. Mrs. Jen Lopez, 1995. I think we all know that the email was also written by her. Because again, my followers will fucking DM me, bitch. You don't need to write me an email. You know how to DM me. So we're in the car and I'm like, what is this? My kids are in the car though. And honestly, I don't remember. I don't remember the fight, but I remember crying. I remember screaming. I remember we went from the room to the closet to try to keep quiet because the kids are hardly sleeping till it rolling over in the morning. I remember telling him in the morning, this is it. I'm going back to the phone company and I'm going to fucking figure this out. He sat on the bed in the middle of the bed like a child. And he just threw his hands down and said, can we just forget about it and just start over? Like, I'm not going to talk to her, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, I'm going to fucking figure out what the fuck is going on. So I leave that day. I go straight to the liquor store. I think I bought myself a fucking 40, bitch. And from there, I go to T-Mobile. I pull the phone records. But this time, instead of blindly calling the numbers that I didn't know, and since it didn't work last time with the Chuntara girl telling me, oh, ask your husband, I had this idea that maybe there was multiple or what the fuck was really going on. So this time, I really got it together. And I remembered the email from April 19th, the one that I told you guys in part 2. And I said, if I were to find the number, it's going to be somebody who contacted him or he contacted on that date. Guess what, bitch? It was one phone number. And it was that one. And with that phone number, I found the address, the names affiliated with that address, her actual name. Again, I don't really remember because the fucking trauma. Like, I don't really remember what was discussed, what was said, like the arguments or any of that. But I couldn't get any information out of him. None. Deny till the day he died. So what was my only other option? Call her. And she was, condescending as fuck. It was like, you should ask yourself why he wants to leave you. Why he wants me and he doesn't want you. Ha! Well, you had him, bitch, and y'all ain't together, so the fuck? Calling me and telling me that I can't keep him at bitch? But could you? So this went on for about 3 days. And I was drinking all of those days. Because I had no idea how to fucking cope. And I just wanted to be numb. Until finally, in text conversation, she started to divulge information. Because he was never going to tell me. All I figured out from him was that affair started in February when I took those 3 weeks to go be at my mom's, my best friend's, and my sister's house because we were having so many problems. We weren't fucking broken up though, bitch. It wasn't your fucking free pass to go and start a new relationship. We weren't fucking split. We were having a difficult time. It wasn't a free fucking pass. But that was the justification of where it supposedly started. And then it continued all those months until I discovered it in September. I did find the text messages. So if you guys want to see the text messages, I'm fucking embarrassed for myself because I can see how fucking pathetic and sad I was and desperate for answers. But I'll show them to y'all if y'all want. And from there, I still stayed. I begged. I pleaded. I did everything that a pick-me-shit bitch would do to try to save my marriage. Everything. From enrolling us in therapy at church, to finding church mentors, to praying for us, to fucking washing this man's motherfucking feet, okay? The most humbling thing that you can do. All of that. I was like this small bitch trying to figure my life out. I stayed for about 1.5 years like that. And looking back now, no regrets, because that time period gave me time to heal, gave me time to work on myself, and gave me time to actually leave without having to ever look back. Like, I never looked back. Once I was able to grab myself by the balls and dip, that was it. I was able to dip and never look back. And I don't think I would have been able to do that if I just left when I was so distraught, also going through postpartum and still having my babies, like, and my business. It would have just been too much, too mentally crippling. So if any of this sounds familiar to you, or my story sounds familiar to you, or you're going through this right now, I just want you to know that you can get to the other side, that there is something beautiful on the other side. Give yourself patience, have grace with yourself, and trust me, there will be one day where you will feel like enough is enough, and you will start to choose yourself, and things only get better from there. I have endless stories of what happened after the fact, which I'll share eventually, but that was the gist of how I discovered the affair. Oh, if you guys want to see the text messages, which I probably will post even without you guys asking, yeah, because it's part of the story, bitch. Hey, love you. Have a great day. Bye.
All right, Messy Fam, now listen, we had to do some deep diving through her page because it's like 40 parts, and most of the parts is her just responding back to people in the comment section, but we was able to find the one that actually has the text thread, so we're going to get into that one, then we're going to bounce around to some what happened afterwards and stuff like that, okay? It's kind of like all over the place, and from what I'm looking at, this story was told in 2023. Goodness gracious, this is an old story, but it's new to me, and it's probably new to a lot of you guys, so let's get into these text messages.
I'm embarrassed for myself to even show you guys this, but here it goes. September 5th, 2019. When the hoe from Riverside finally decides to open her fucking mouth because the random man in Rancho was never gonna tell on himself. I don't have the actual first message I sent her. I don't know why. Maybe I deleted it because I was nervous. I don't know. But this was her response. And I'm assuming in it I threatened her to blast her on social media because when I had first gotten her phone number, I posted it on Twitter and I asked if anybody knew who it was. And she tried to call me and tell me that she was gonna sue me for blasting her information. I said, bitch, sue me. I don't give a fuck. I'm trying to figure out whose fucking number this is because that's the only way that she contacted me back. But anyways, let's get into the messages. Basically, she's saying she doesn't know why I feel the need to threaten her. Blasting her all over social media doesn't scare her. Do what I feel I need to do. FYI, I don't look for your husband. He looks for me. Maybe you should get it all straight before you hit me with your threats. I don't want to be you. Look at you and what's going on. I have no desire to be you. Trust me. I responded condescending, of course. LOL, bitch, you wish you were me. No, I really don't. You should talk to the random man in Rancho. I have not an ounce of desire to be you. Ask him to tell you or I will. It should come from him. And I said, he's not, so go ahead. Said he won't burn himself and lose his family, duh. Well then, Jackie, I think you have the answer right there. Someone who won't tell you the truth. And I said, so go ahead, tell me. I'm talking to him too as we speak. Like I said, you think you know me and you don't. He needs to talk to you. And I said, okay, well, let me know who you are. I would never talk to a married man or entertain the thought. That's pretty pathetic and disgusting. Then the audacity of this bitch to say someone who has respect for you and the random man in Rancho to talk. I'm telling y'all, the land of delusion that both of these people live in to talk about respect, because these motherfuckers don't have no idea what respect is. He has all your answers, and I said, yes, so do you. I'm not married to you, Jackie. He is. No shit, bitch. The point is he's married, so why did you entertain that? So ask him. I say, you're right about that. Well, he's looking for me, Jackie. Ask him why. Oh my God, you're so special, bitch. How long has he been looking for you since I told him to stop? Because remember, I thought that it was just an emotional affair at first because that's what he made me believe. Still no information. I was like, well, he's talking, but he's not really talking. He's not really saying much. The conversation stops. Text again the next day. I talked to my husband already. He explained everything to me. He says he wants to fix our marriage. He'll never be in contact with you again. If he does, let me know. What did he tell you? I said, you're dating, your relationship, how it started. My dating, my relationship, how it started. She was itching to tell me. She just wanted to be a condescending, dirty ass bitch. You know what I think is funny now looking back? That she was like calling me by my name. Bitch, you knew me. Kept up with my stories, the first one to view my shit all the time. I have a story time about that too, how the universe was trying to tell me who she was before I even knew what the fuck was going on or who she was. But I'll tell you guys another time. Dating, LOL, that I looked for him and that's all me, right? No, that he did look for you. That we dated and we had a relationship. Look at her! Such a great person. I always said that when the time presented itself, I was going to tell you the truth because you deserve to know the truth. Just like you have been fed lies, so have I. I am not telling you the truth to hurt you. But I'm not tied to him. I can walk away from him like I have so many times. He comes right back to look for me. It's been 7 months since we started talking. I am not a homewrecker. Bitch, this is your track record. This is what you do, hoe from Riverside. Yes, you are a home-wrecking ass bitch. Please do not lie to yourself or to the people because yes, you are. You and him weren't together at the time. He told me he was unhappy And I believed him. He stayed with me most of the time you guys were apart. So I really did think it was over. Damn! So how long did it take this man to meet her and then be staying up in your house? Because I was only away from my house for 2.5, 3 weeks at the most when I stayed at my sister's, my best friend's, and my mom's. And we were not split up. He knew we weren't split up. And I know your ass knew we weren't split up. And how you let a man stay at your house after 2 weeks of knowing him? I don't know. With your kids. Ugh! Hope from Riverside activities, of course. He's told me multiple times he was leaving. He just doesn't know how to leave the kids like that every time he looks for me. Then she sends me pictures of edible arrangements he got her. At the time, I'm not gonna lie, that hurt me because I begged this man to always do right by me and he never did. Never. So, and you know what he did tell me when I got this picture and I questioned him about it? He said, well, I learned what to do with you, so I did it for her. Tight. Then she sends me another picture of flowers he sent her with the fucking note. I never contact him. I won't. I felt like you deserve to know the truth. But it was a lot more than what he told you. He called me as soon as he left your house. Tell him to tell you the whole truth, not just what you want to hear. Then I asked her when those edible arrangements were sent because I was asking him the same questions. I'm honestly not telling you to hurt you. Oh my God, Hope from Riverside, you're so fucking kind. I would go weeks without talking to him and he would go to my work and look for me. And I said, well, in my eyes, both of you guys are responsible. Because the fact of the matter is that you knew that in those 3 weeks I was back home. So if you were the person that you said you were, then you should have let me fucking know when I was back home and not continued an affair and tried to subliminally tell me. No, bitch, with your fucking balls, you should have told me. But I digress. She tries to excuse herself by saying prior to that he lied. Well, only those 2 to 3 weeks that he lied to you. After that, the 7 months later, bitch, yes, you were responsible, both of you. The two of you, both of you. Then she goes on to continue to tell me that he told her that he loved her, blah, 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 blah. And then I just stopped texting because the random man in Rancho told me to stop texting her. Because he wanted to fix things and he wasn't going to talk to her and stopped contacting her, that he'll tell me whatever, blah, 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 blah. The whole spiel, the whole bullshit. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. And that was the entire series of the discovery phase of how I found out the random man in Rancho was having an affair with the hoe from Riverside. So many things happened after the fact. And when I feel like giving a story time, I fucking will. Because receipts, I have them for days. I kept them all. I kept all the gaslighting. I kept all the manipulation. Everything, bitch.
Nah, I think she was definitely telling her all that stuff to hurt her feelings and to get her to be officially over that man. They're still fighting over that man. And she's married. Being married, you shouldn't even have to fight over the person you're with. Like, I don't know if y'all know this, but if you're married to somebody, if this is your person, even if y'all been together forever, you shouldn't have to fight for that person. That's a clear sign it's time to let that person go.
I can't even believe his response to her about him sending the mistress flowers and edibles. He's just like, I learned from you, this is the way I'm supposed to treat somebody. For that to be your response? Wow. There's no way that you're treating your mistress better than your own wife.
Right.
And then the fact that she has so much aggression for this mistress, I get it. You're angry, but then to not have that same anger against your husband and you're just asking him when he's the one who betrayed you the most. Yes, they both were wrong, but he's the one who owed the loyalty.
Correct. I agree. What do you all think, Messy Family? Do y'all feel like the anger is just? Do you feel like it's equally towards both sides, or do y'all feel like she's targeting the mistress more than she is her own husband? So this next part we about to get into is about to be what happened after the affairs.
The random man in Rancho and the hoe from Riverside did me the greatest favor when they had an affair, because I would have never left otherwise and I would have been trapped in an unhappy relationship. Okay, so I took you guys through the discovery phase of the affair, but I can't just leave you there. I'm gonna take you through the aftermath and then the healing journey and whatever stories I remember in between. Because, bitch, I stayed for 1.5 years, okay? 1.5 years after being betrayed. And I was that bitch that said that if I'm ever cheated on, I will not stay. I will not stay because I cannot recover from a betrayal, because I cannot forget what you did. And that was true. But I still stayed. So I'm going to take you guys through that. We're going to start with what happened between September to November of 2019. Because in November is when I got my mommy makeover. And I know all of you guys are really curious as to what happened post mommy makeover and all of that. So I'm going to make a separate video for that. So for now, we're going to start from September 19th after the discovery, 2019 to November of 2019 when I actually got my mommy makeover. A lot of those 2 months is really a blur. And I really, really feel bad for the woman I was in that time period. I feel so much empathy and compassion for her because she was so hurt. so lost and lacking so much of self-love. And that's actually something I learned in therapy, that I had to do this exercise where I went back to hug old versions of myself and tell them that it's okay, that we didn't know better. And as much as I feel bad for that version of myself, it all had to happen. Every single part of it. It was the most humbling experience of my entire life. Because during those 2 months, as you can imagine, I felt this small. I was going through a whirlwind of chaotic emotions. My nervous system was completely shot. And the random man in Rancho didn't make it any better with the inconsistencies and the emotional roller coaster that he took me through. Because in those 2 months, he would go from being proud and condescending, telling me with the biggest ego in the world that he didn't know if he wanted me or her. He didn't know if he wanted his family or her. But then to other days, convincing me that he wanted to work things out and forget about everything that happened. He really put me through a fucking roller coaster. In addition to the fact that I was already spiraling in my own mind, trying to rationalize what had happened. And I know that you guys know that once you guys figure out something, then you start to go back and start to try to put the pieces. So then I started having a lot of questions. Like, well, what was this? And where was this? And this, like just really trying to piece everything together. Because I'm one of those people that needs all the fucking details, as hurtful as it is. But there are a few things that I remember specifically from those 2 months. The first one is playing house. We were playing house. We were playing like if we were this united front, like this is our family, this is our home, and posting as such. And I was trying to do the most, trying to keep my home together. So I was like, let's go have dinner. Like, let's spend time together. Like, let's figure this out. I was the one desperately trying to fix something that I didn't break. And I mean, desperately. I remember us having a dinner at a seafood boil place up in Hesperia where we lived. And I remember him sitting there and just looking off into space. He wasn't even present. We had our 3 kids there. He wasn't even present. And I started to get in my mind, because obviously I'm in my mind. I'm like, he's thinking about her. And I start to ask him questions. And yeah, he boldly and bluntly says, like, I don't know if I want to be here. Like, I don't know if I want this. And of course I start crying and I'm like, what do you mean? Look at our kids. This is our family. Like, we can figure this out. Like I'm just a fucking mess, distraught. He's almost like condescending too, like making commentaries like, well, she did this for me. She did that for me. She did this for me. You don't do that, blah, blah, blah. And all of it had to do with like her giving him gifts and doing like this type of extra shit that I used to do in the beginning of our relationship. But how much he forgot that I used to do all of these things and used to gift him all these extravagant things. But for like Christmases and shit, he would give me fucking dishes, fucking pots and pans. My birthdays, he would ruin them all, every single one. God forbid I was any ounce of happy, because the second I was too happy, why the fuck was I so happy? But he really enjoyed doing this because he would go from that to then wanting our family again. And I think that made him feel powerful and in control. And it really blew up his ego. He was already feeling like, oh, the fucking man. So during these 2 months, it also falls within his birthday time period. And I'm like desperate to prove to him that he needs to pick me. That's another thing. I surrounded myself with the wrong people telling me that you can't let her win. Like, that is the worst fucking advice somebody could give you. You can't let her win. Like, no, bitch, there's no fucking prize. You're not winning shit. Worst advice. So I planned this extravagant birthday for him where I planned a home in Palm Springs, a whole getaway. I had his whole family go there, set it up, and I took him out to the casino and then had them surprise us at the house with our kids there, like this really thoughtful thing. And we surprised him and he was all emotional and all these things and thankful. And I'm posting like, so this bitch could see like, oh, this is my husband. This is my family. This is, girl, oh my God. I think that was the worst Delululand this bitch me lived in, because the fuck, stupid as fuck. But I digress, bitch. And I remember crying at that birthday party because when he gave his thank you speech, he thanked everyone. He thanked his family for being there, and he didn't thank me. And I'm the one that did everything. I'm the one that planned everything, put everything together. Sure, his family contributed and they did the cooking or whatever, but I planned everything. I paid for the house. The whole execution of it was me, and I didn't get thanked in his speech. I just remember feeling so small. I cried a lot during that time period, a lot in private. And I was also going through postpartum. My daughter was only 1 and I was still breastfeeding her. I breastfed my daughter till she was about 1 year and 7 months. So, your hormones are all out of whack when you're doing that. So I was just a mess. Emotionally, I was a mess while still trying to be a functional adult and raise my kids and run my businesses and figure out what the fuck just happened to everything I knew in my life, right? He had all of these manipulation tactics like stored in his pocket. I remember one time he grabbed my phone and he was like going through it. Like we were having an argument about obviously like the secrets and I was trying to figure things out. And he took my phone and he specifically went to his profile and he hit hide alerts. So that way, when he texts me and I didn't get his text message because he turned off the alerts, that he could have an argument with me and the argument would be justified because I didn't answer him in time. If I was posting with my kids too much, he would say that I was trying to post like if I'm a single mom and that he doesn't fucking exist. So why the fuck is he there? Shit is crazy, yo. And I also feel like the hoe from Riverside fed him a lot of these manipulations. This bitch is not dumb. This bitch is smart. She knows exactly what she was doing and the things that she was planting in his head, and he would run with them and she would just feed it and feed it and feed it. Also, anything that I would do became an accusation towards me, or like a questioning, like, why did you take so long? Where did you go? How long were you there? Like, everything was a questioning me. Even though I was not the one that committed adultery, I was the one that was constantly being questioned. So again, this roller coaster of emotions. Like I said, a lot of that time period was really a blur for me because I was just like a mess. But in any case, tomorrow we will talk about what happened when I got my mommy makeover. Also, I just want to say that if you're going through this right now, or you found me through the stories of me telling the story about the affair, the discovery, that's something that you're going through, I just want you to know that that's part of the way that I healed myself. Is I looked for outside sources of people that had been through the things that I went through and that showed me the other side, or showed me that I wasn't alone. That's how I met Alma and Sylvia here on TikTok, and they've now become my longtime friends. And this really built a community for me. So I hope that you feel less alone, and I just hope that you give yourself the grace and give yourself the time to heal. And don't be so hard on yourself. I promise you that you do end up learning how to choose yourself. You just do it on your own time, and just give yourself the space to feel the things that you need to feel, so that when you're ready to go, you go in peace. See you guys tomorrow.
I love her advice that she's given to people at the end of her stories, because a lot of people, when you're going through this, it's just so confusing. Your mind is clouded. You know, you want to go the best route through a breakup, or you're going through an affair. You want to take the less toxic route when you're going through this, because you're just not in the right headspace. So she's trying to help women or men that are going through this navigate that. Because like I said, you get that clarity after, you know, you're away from that person.
Right. This situation, she's right. Like, there is no prize in this. Like, you're competing. The reason why I feel like that man is acting that way now, like how he's showing off more. He went from hiding it to showing off more. Is because not, at first she didn't know about it. Now she knows about it and she low key accepts it. I understand why she's doing it, but the reason why he's getting comfortable is because she's accepted it. She's trying to fight for this man, knowing that he doesn't want her. So now in the argument, he could be like, "Well, I got another woman that'll do it for me," type stuff. So it's like, I think her just putting up with it is the main reason, like why he's like showing his ass, if I can say that. Sorry.
Yeah. You definitely teach people how to treat you. If you allow them to disrespect you, it's only going to get worse.
Right.
So address it the first time it happens, and
stand on business. These next clips, we're going to go ahead and push straight to the final straw, that pretty much what made her just say, you know what, I'm done with this, and officially just start pushing for the divorce. Because at this point in the video, as you can see, she's not in a divorce process right now. She's still trying to fight for him. So let's just get to the part where she actually tells us what happened to make her finally say, you know what, forget it, I'm done.
I'm going to tell you guys the story of the final straw. Basically my breaking point. And it starts here. This is my bathroom. And do you see that hole there? Yes, for those of you that are going to ask, I still live in the same place that I lived when I was married. Because bitch, California's expensive and I ain't moving. I digress. This is another important part of the story. No, it's not the same bed, not the same mattress. I definitely cleared my space and made this space my own. But in any case, we all know in order for something to end, it has to reach a breaking point. And I think people expect it to be this big, grandiose thing. But let's be real here. We're women, and we know this all too well, that it takes several different incidents that add up over time before we reach our final breaking point. Obviously, I had already been through it all, to obviously the most extreme, which was the betrayal, the affair. So that's why it may shock you when you hear what the final straw was for me. It's really quite simple. A couple of weeks prior to this incident, I had discussed with my partner that I wanted to establish some boundaries. I had been going to therapy, I had been going to church, and I had been really trying to heal myself and heal the anger that I had inside. And I had a discussion with said person about what my boundaries were. Let's start really small and let's start establishing boundaries that we had never established in the beginning of our relationship, because we were so young and what did we know, right? So I was like, if we're going to make this work, like, we're going to have to figure out a way to communicate better. So I said, one of the things that I want to do is that whenever we have a disagreement or an argument, let's learn to really think before we speak, not get super angry. And especially for him, he's very aggressive, has an aggressive demeanor, flares up his chest, very scary, like uses his manliness, I guess, to intimidate, to make his point instead of just communicating. So that was it. Very simple boundary, right? Because you wouldn't talk to anybody on the street like that, right? Or any random person that crossed you like that. So why with your partner? Like, let's just give each other human decency and respect. So then you fast forward and an argument brews up over something very small. I don't even remember exactly what, but it had to do with maybe the house or maybe the kids, but very small. And that argument blows up. Because why? There's a lot of fucking underlying issues that are not resolved. And what happens when the argument blows up? Tempers flare. Not mine. I was still trying to stick to the boundaries and stick to my fucking therapy. Flares up his chest, ends up getting in this very macho demeanor. He had a brush in his hand at the time, like a comb. And I was standing near that edge of that bed that I showed you guys. And he ends up throwing that brush into the bathroom and making that hole out of anger and frustration. And I don't know why this shocked me, but I was just like... And then I sat on the edge of the bed. And I saw my whole future. And I was like, ain't no fucking way, bruh. If I stay here, this is going to be my life. Do you want this to be your life for the rest of your life? Like, is this what you want for yourself? You can't even request to be spoken to with respect, with no aggression, because that can't even be done. If he can't even give you that small thing, how do you expect him to do anything else for you? Or make any changes? Or have any remorse for all of the things that he's done? He can't. How? If that one small thing couldn't be accomplished. Not even like he tried to fake the funk. It had only been like 2 to 3 weeks prior to that discussion. And I stayed quiet for some time, for a couple minutes. And then it's just like, it clicked. And I was like, this is it. It's over. You need to move out. It's over. And I say you need to move out because I had paid the rent. Because we were already on wishy-washy. And because I knew I could afford this place. So I was like, yeah, you're gonna have to go. And he didn't believe me. Shut the fuck up, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, no, I'm so serious right now. And I think that he was in such disbelief of what I was saying because it just seemed so insignificant to be like, you're gonna have to leave after this. Like, this is it. That he began accusing me of cheating on him with a guy who possibly works at Mama Por Dios. I'll tell you guys a story about that at another time because I don't know nobody that works there. But that was his story in his mind. And yeah, that was the final straw. It sounds crazy, right? But it's like once you're at that end point, it's like you're just waiting for that one last thing to happen to be like, yep, okay, done, bye, peace. Because I felt like I was waiting for that. Like I was waiting for something to trigger something so I could be like, okay, yep, this is it, bye. Because I was already done. I just didn't know how to leave. Like I just didn't know. I didn't know how to walk away. I didn't know how to do it. I couldn't find the words. I couldn't just leave it without saying there was a reason, you know? No matter how much therapy I was in. How did I get the random man in Rancho to leave? And we're going to call him the random man in Rancho, inspired by Morgan, the random man in Atlanta. Yesterday, I posted a video explaining to you guys what the final straw was in my toxic marriage. What was the straw that broke the camel's back that made me say, this is it? And a very common and obvious question is, how did I get him to leave? Because I'm the one that asked him to leave this home that I still currently reside in. And if you guessed it took some time, yes, it took some time. And I do realize that some of you guys are in this position now and can't get the person to leave. So let me tell you what I did. It took about 2 months before he actually finally left. In that 2-month time period, I made it a point to make sure that he knew that this was over. Not every single day was I telling him, but every couple of days I was saying, hey, when are you going to be moving out? Like, what's the update? When are you going to be leaving? But it was going to take more than that. I basically treated him like he was nobody. I didn't talk to him, engage in any conversation, pretty much gave him the cold shoulder and acted like he just didn't exist here. I would go out and do things, not tell him anything, not check in with him, like just there's nothing here. Like he needed to know that there was nothing here. But I think the most important part and the key part is that from the day of the fight of the final straw, there was no more intimacy. I no longer was intimate with that man or slept with him. Despite any advances that he had, or despite my own personal feelings of being an adult and having desires, I refused to sleep with him. I abstained from any sexual activity. Also, that was really easy for me to do because I no longer was attracted to him in that way. I no longer had those feelings. And secondly, it was even easier because he was constantly accusing me of hooking up with somebody from Mama Por Dios, which I'll tell you guys in the next video. And he was holding on to that for dear life, that I was with somebody from Mama Por Dios. So whenever he would try to make advances to sleep with me, I would say, why would you want to fuck me? Aren't I fucking the guy from Mama Por Dios? That's weird. Why do you want to touch me? If I'm so disgusting because I'm fucking some guy from Mama Por Dios, but you still want to sleep with me? Am I not sleeping with that guy? I think the key component was abstaining from any intimacy, any physical touch, any form of intimacy, even in conversation, just nothing. Just cold fucking turkey. And I think eventually he got tired of that and he left.
The moment when everything just stacks up on top of each other and you're just like, you know what? This is just too much for me. Like that moment literally flashed before her eyes. The fact that he's so mad that he's damaging the home at this point, imagine if that hit her. Like it's only gonna progress. So yeah,
Right.
in that moment, she's like, no, we're not doing this.
Yeah, I think she probably had like a moment like, well, I think this man might put his hands on me. The final straw should have been when he was cheating and throwing it in her face. That should have been the final straw. This is the part where he actually moves out the house. Okay, so we done made it all the way through the discovery, the aftermath of the affair. Now we're to the point where he finally moves out. So let's see how that goes, and then we'll wrap it up at the end, Messy Family.
The Random Man and Rancho finally moves out. Praise the Lord. I got the best sleep of my life that night. A lot of you guys have been reminding me that I did not finish the story yet, but so much has happened in between that I kind of forgot where I had left off. So I had to go back and see where we were at, and I'm here with the receipts. So he's out, and I'm fucking finally free, bitch, but not really. Because the man moves out, and he doesn't help me take 50-50 custody of the kids till about 2 months later. I go online, I find a custody exchange calendar, and I tell him, hey, we're going to start this next month. What weeks do you want? Because at that point, I was still carrying the load of everything, and you got to be free. Oh, no. I let it go on for about 2 months because he didn't have his own place, and he was trying to figure out his movement, so I was like, okay. Once he figured out his living situation and the custody calendar started, bitch, I was outside. So around June, I'm stepping out. These are like one of my first posts when I started going out and like just exploring. I was ready to date, bitch, on the prowl. But also around this time, Random Man and Rancho was still stalking the fuck out of me. And I mean like shamelessly, watching my story, like straight up from his account, watching my story, showing up to my office and my workplace at unannounced times, breaking into my garage. He knew how to do that because he lived here before. I couldn't get a restraining order because he was still getting mail here. So wherever you get mail, you can't get a restraining order because that was technically like your home. These months were awful in terms of dealing with him. On June 13th, 2021, he cornered me in my office. I was loading up boxes into my vehicle and he pulled up and blocked me into the warehouse, blocking the bay door so that I couldn't exit. And I was on my phone when he pulled up and I was smiling at my phone because I was already talking to somebody at this point. And he's like, who the fuck are you talking to? And like literally attacking me. I wouldn't give him my phone and he goes to slam my car door, almost hits my leg. Like my leg almost gets caught in between the car door and my vehicle. And he has our kids in the car. And he takes off fucking driving insane. I still don't know what to do at this point. So this is a message conversation between him and I. I'm sure you've already got to read it. But pretty much I'm telling him I went to the police department. This has to stop. The stalking has to stop. He was literally, even on the days that he had my kids, he was following me, trying to figure out where I was, staying outside of my house, waiting to see who I pulled up with. When he broke into my garage and my mom caught him downstairs because she heard a noise at the garage, he was like, oh, I'm just looking for something. What was he looking for? He still had some things in the garage, but what were you looking for? Later, he confessed to me that he was hoping to catch me with somebody in my bed. But we were not together. So this is when the gaslighting is obvious. I said, just leave me alone. What are you talking about? Stop showing up. Stop following me. I've been leaving you alone. Okay, coward. Keep doing you. And I was like, I recorded you. You're crazy. We haven't done anything together. Gaslighting as fuck. Not admitting to the guilt of what the fuck he was actually doing. Like not admitting, no admission. Instead, gaslighting. Then I don't know why I thought this was a good idea, but I reached out to one of his family members to let him know, like, dude, tell him to stop. Like, tell him to leave me the fuck alone. Like, you guys are with him 24/7. Like, somebody has to fucking stop him. And I just basically said, it's fucked up. You're okay with me being in a jeopardizing situation where he can hurt me? How the fuck does that make sense? So my kids end up injured and so my kids end up with an injured mom and a fucking dad in prison because he was acting erratic. That's what I mean. Then he responded saying, I can't control your assumptions. Look, he will never endanger you. And for you to keep trying to portray him as this bad father and dangerous person is getting out of hand. Gaslighting as fuck. You keep bringing up that because all of this because he cheated. Okay, he cheated, but that doesn't make him a dangerous person to make you feel like your life is at risk at all. Okay, so stalking is not putting me at risk. Blocking me into my warehouse is not putting me at risk. Slamming the door on me because I'm not giving you my phone even though you have no right to that is not putting me at risk. Driving off fucking recklessly, speeding at 80 miles per hour in a fucking parking lot with my 3 kids in the back of your car is not a danger at all. Okay. So at that point in between conversations with that family member and another family member of his, I realized that I was not going to have anyone's support and they were going to entertain his behavior and I was going to be gaslit forever. So that is when I decided to never communicate with them again either. At that point, I knew that the only way to get this man off my back and to leave me the fuck alone was for him to find somebody find a person, find a partner, get with somebody so that I could hold that over his head. Like, okay, if you bug me, I'm gonna let whoever you're talking to know. So I kind of just dealt with it. There was nothing I could do. When I would call the cops to try to file a police report, they would tell me, it's very tense times when couples are splitting up. Courts don't really take this like too seriously because you guys could get back together, blah, 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 blah. So I was getting no help from anywhere. So like basically he had to like actually physically harm me for them to take some kind of action. Trying to get a restraining order without him actually like physically harming me and showing physical proof was nearly impossible. Same with the stalking. When I realized that I was going to be gaslit and I wasn't getting any support, I blocked everyone. That was the day that I blocked everybody that was from his side, whether friends, family, everyone. And bitch, the day finally came where the random man in Rancho started dating somebody and my kids told me about it. And so at our next child exchange, I knew that he was going to have something to say to me. Had something to say to me every fucking time. Or some form of attack or some insinuation, accusation, whatever. And I already had my words ready. Because he so happened to decide to shit where he ate and start dating somebody, a coworker from his workplace. I have an audio recording from the cameras that I had in my garage where he is attacking me and telling me that if I bring my kids around my boyfriend at the time, that he was going to break his legs and have him drinking out of a straw, and that he knows where he lives because he looked him up. And so I will play that for you guys tomorrow.
To think that her ex-husband is doing all of this when he cheated first, it literally blows my mind. Like, why are you trying to see who she's with now when you were literally with someone else?
Yeah, that's how you know you really glue up after the breakup. Like that person, I'm surprised he wasn't acting out like that throughout the last 2 months living together when she wasn't like being intimate with him anymore. Mm-hmm. He probably was sleeping with that woman. During those 2 months that he was not touching her or interacting with her, not saying like he didn't try. She said he was attempting to, but I believe he was probably sleeping with the other woman, because why didn't he lash out then? Now, I was looking forward to the audio that she spoke of when she said that she was going to post the audio of him like threatening her new boyfriend, but she never posted it. So I'm pretty sure for legal reasons why she didn't post that, but it's okay. But if you guys want to follow that creator, you can search her name. It will be in the description box below this video, so that way you can follow her for more updates. Now, Messy family, what do you guys think? Let us know in the comment section. What advice do you have? If you've ever been in this situation before, let us know how you handled that and what questions you may have in the comment section below. Until the next story time, Messy family, peace.